Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to show you to put together your SXL bike. Here's all the tools that you'll need. You can pretty much pick them up anywhere that they sell tools. So once your bike's out of the box, you're going to want to go ahead and set it down, take off all the zip ties and the foam. Usually I'll put a piece of cardboard underneath. This way I have some sort of padding there for the bike underneath, and then if anything falls down, it's easy to spot. You're going to want to get all of the nuts taken off of the stem right there so that you can have an easier time of putting on your handlebars. So go ahead and get every single one of those nuts off, and then go ahead and grab your handlebars and go ahead and place it onto the stem. I usually use one hand to hold the handlebars and the bike at the same time so that the other hand can use the clamp, and then go ahead and secure every single one of the stem bolts back onto the stem. I usually go in a zigzag pattern, and you definitely want to make sure that you only tighten a little bit at a time of each nut, so this way you can get a nice secure fit and it's just kind of even spread out throughout the stem. For the front brake, you're going to take off the nut and then you're going to thread it right through the fork, and then additionally you will hand tighten that nut back on the other side of the fork. Now go ahead and go on the other side, turning the fork around, and then put your Allen wrench inside of that nut right there and give it a nice secure fit so everything stays put. For the front wheel, you're going to go ahead and loosen that nut right there on both sides, and then also you'll see that there's a washer. You're going to want that washer to be all the way over to the side with the nut. And when you put on your front wheel, you'll make sure that the nut and the washer are on the outside of the fork. So go ahead and grab your bike with one hand and secure the wheel. It may not come on easily the first time you do it, so go ahead and just loosen the nuts until there's just enough room for the fork to pop on, just like that. Then go ahead and hand tighten it, and you'll want to get your 15mm wrench next so that you can tighten and secure the front wheel. Go ahead and grab that 15mm right there, and then you're going to want to put that on and make sure that you tighten it down. You don't have to put a ton of force on it with all your might, just kind of enough so that you know that it is tight and secure and it's not going anywhere. Go ahead and make sure that you do it to both sides. Now we'll go ahead and get into installing your seat post. So to install your seat post, go ahead and grab the grease that you have, and you're going to want to use about a fingertip to 2 fingertips amount and apply it onto the seat post. So go ahead and just apply it all over the seat post, typically on the area that you know you're not going to use. This is going to help it slide in and out a lot easier for installation. Now to get the height just right, I recommend looking at a few YouTube videos just to kind of make sure that you get it down right, because fit is important, but usually the upper thigh is a good place to start. Go ahead and make sure that the saddle is pointing straight, and you can always look at it from behind or above to get the right spot. There's just a quick view for you for reference. Now to install your pedals, all of the pedals will have stickers on them for right or left, but for whatever reason, if they're not there, you can see it on the pedal. Go ahead and grab some of the grease, around the same amount, a fingertip to 2 fingertips on there, and then apply it on the threading of the pedal. Also, you're going to want to use just kind of the excess that you have and apply it onto the crank arms like you'll see me do in this video right now. This is super important because honestly, if you have those pedals seize up on you without grease, it's going to be really hard to take them on and off if you ever want to change out your pedals. What I recommend for anybody that's installing pedals, if you're ever confused on which way to go to tighten it, just always, no matter what side you're on, just go ahead and make sure that you spin it toward the front wheel. So on the right side, you'll be spinning it toward the front wheel, and then on the left side, you'll see me spinning it toward the front wheel. So go ahead and make sure that you tighten that real good, and for that you can go ahead and put a pretty good amount of force because you don't want those things to get loose on you. Now once you've done all of that, just kind of doing the finishing touches on there, I like to make sure that the top cap is tightened securely before I tighten up the stem. So make sure that you do that in that order first. So always the top cap and then do the stem bolts, just to make sure everything is tight and secure. Then also you can always look above your stem just to make sure that it is pointing straight and that it is in line with the front wheel. Now you can see that the front brake here is crooked, so all you have to do to fix that is just kind of adjust it accordingly so that you have an even distribution on both sides of the wheels. And once you have it to where you like, just go ahead and hold on to it and then tighten it down one more time to make sure. Some of the brake pads might be uneven. You can see that it's kind of pointed angled right now, and what we want to do is get it more in line with the rim. So go ahead and loosen that up right there, and then go ahead and hold it with your finger to make sure that it stays leveled, and then tighten it down. Always make sure that your brake pad is not touching the tire. That will definitely do some damage to your tire, and it's really unsafe. Last part you want to do is check your chain tension on there. This has a nice good loosening touch to it. There's not too much slack and it's not too tight, so I think it's just right. So after that's all good, I'm just going to make sure that the back wheel is super tight, and it looks like it is, but just check always to make sure. Lastly, you can kind of see that the saddle is angled down right now, and some people might like that, but usually I like to have it a little bit more level. So there's a nut underneath, and you just want to loosen that up and then go ahead and angle it to the height that you like. So I got everything loosened up right there, and then once it gets to a good point, you'll notice that it kind of wiggles a little bit, and then that's going to allow you to kind of position it the way that you want to. So I just loosened it a little bit more so I have an easier time of setting it. So go ahead and set it down to the way you like, and then you can always push the seat forward or back. I kind of like it a little bit in the middle, so I'll go ahead and probably push it forward a little bit. Just make sure that you don't overcompensate, and make sure that you hold on to it when you are tightening it up. So go ahead and set it up. Oh, looks like I went a little bit too far, so let me just set it back a little bit. There's little numbers on there so you can kind of keep track of the space that you need it, and then just make sure you secure it tightly, because you definitely don't want that to be sliding around on you, so definitely make sure that it's nice and secure at all times. So your bike's put together, and the only thing you need to do now is put some air in there. So go ahead and loosen the black top that's located on the Presta valve. Now to access the spot to actually put air in and out, you have to loosen up the nut that's right there on the top. So go ahead and loosen that up so that you'll be able to put in air. Next, you grab your pump and make sure that it is a Presta compatible pump. They do make adapters if you need them, but it's good to get a pump that's specific for Presta valves. Go ahead and pump it up to the PSI that you like. Just make sure not to over pump it, because if you're in hotter weather, it can definitely increase the pressure and cause for pops in the tire. Once that's all done, you're just going to want to tighten up that Presta valve again so the air cannot escape, and go ahead and tighten the little nut that's around the Presta valve just to make sure it's nice and secure, and then go ahead and put the black top right back on it. After that, go ahead and do it to the rear tire and you are good to go.